Banji is also right here on the program. Banji,
Yes.
good morning.
Jumoke, this is what we know how to do best, and it's good connecting with our viewers. Yes, this is a fresh edition of the program Summit. My name is Banji Busari. So much to talk about. Of course, the polity is very, very active politically. Everybody has become a politician on the streets, in the buses, everywhere, in homes, all discussing the recent judgment given by the Supreme Court of Nigeria. That's a respect of the last presidential election. Okay?
All right, so we know that last week, Thursday, the Supreme Court ruling put to rest the most intense battle that Nigeria has ever encountered when it comes to an election. And President Bola Tinubu's administration was confirmed in spite of so many issues that the opposition brought into it. But we're going to be looking at that on the program this morning, just dissecting the judgment and looking at it from different angles. We have joining us today a political analyst, a public affairs analyst, Mr. Ademola Adegoke is joining us, and he's also a journalist.
Oh, a very good morning to you, Jumoke, and to Banji as well, and to our viewers at home, a very good morning. Thanks for having me.
We know you are a friend on this program, and each time we say you are here with us, we appreciate your company. Let me start by saying that the affirmation of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the winner, or as the authentic, legitimate winner of the 2023 presidential elections has a sort of conferred legitimacy on his administration. And by that ruling, he has 4 years to lead this country as the president of this country. Now, let me start by asking, that pronouncement, do you see it as genuinely confirming legitimacy on his administration, from your point of view?
From my own point of view, yes, it does, because the contention before was that he was not validly elected as the president of Nigeria, and the Supreme Court, is the highest court in the land. And you see, for me, as a people, we've got to respect our institutions. If we have institutions and we do not have faith in those institutions and we do not respect those institutions, then what results from that is chaos and probably anarchy. So as for me, the Supreme Court, the affirmation by the Supreme Court should, put paid to all agitations, to all contentions on whether he is validly elected or he has not been validly elected. And this is not the first time. This only looks, maybe in recent time, I need to say this, because those who were of age during the 1979 election, the two leading candidates,
Shehu
Shagari and Obafemi Awolowo, it was almost this intense. It's just that maybe because of the political majority that time, it was not as divisive as this turned out to be. But the battle too was very, very intense. And what was the battle on then? It was about what constitutes, 2/3 of 19 states. We were having 19 states then, and then Shagari scored 25% and above in 12 states, and then he couldn't score 25% in Kano, which would have made it the 13 states. And then if you divide 19 by 3, 19 is not easily divisible by 3. You understand? So if it were maybe 21, you can say 14 would be 2/3 of 21. But this is 19, and Shagari only scored 12 in 12 states, and not up to 25 in Kano. So there was this so much legal battle, and Chief Richard Akinjide, the lawyer to NPN and Shagari, came up with the 12 2/3 formula, and he said that you didn't need to win 13 states because 13 would have made it so easy. He now said, no, it should be 12 2/3, not 12 25%. And people were saying it should be 13 states. But no, Akinjide said it should be 12 2/3, not 13. So how do you now divide 2/3 of a state? And at the end of the day, the Supreme Court ruled that it was actually 12 2/3. So the Supreme Court validated Shagari as the president. So it's not the first time that we are having this type of legal battle. But like I've said, so once a process must have a beginning and it must have an end. And again, we have a nation. The nation does not belong to politicians, it belongs to every one of us. And once the Supreme Court has ruled, the best thing is for us all to rally around, because if the president fails, the nation fails. If it succeeds, the nation succeeds. That's the way I see it.
All right. Thank you for that submission. But still talking about that ruling, so many issues on morals also came up, along the line, and people were shocked that the Supreme Court did not bother to check or maybe investigate, as a court is required to do when most of these issues come up. What is your view along that line?
The way you and I we look at issues is not the way it should be looked at legally. Maybe one thing that people have failed to realize is that the way the law is, even if a judge were to be a witness at a crime spot, he's not going to base his judgment on his own, on his own experience.
Yeah.
He's not going to base his, the best the judge will do is probably to recuse himself from that case, to say, no, I'm recusing myself. I cannot judge this matter because I will be biased. But if he doesn't recuse himself, if for any reason the judge does not recuse himself, he cannot base his judgment on what he saw personally. He will base his judgment on what the litigants have brought before him. And once the litigants have not been able, or in this case, what do you call the one that is bringing up the case now? The legal, that is the one that is suing the other person. It has just.
That's the PDP
no,
and the Labour Party.
But there is a legal term for it.
The appellant.
You have the defendant and you have the one that is
the prosecutor.
For a criminal case, but for a civil case, it's not the prosecutor. But we know that in this case we have the PDP, OP, and LP on one side. Then you have
the appellants anyway.
You are there. Once you have not brought your case, you understand. You have not brought up your case in a way that that conforms to what the legal process expects. The court will not help you to state your case, and this is what has happened. So you and I may look at it, and that is why in so many instances you can even find a case that this case is too clear. It will, but at the end of the day, the court will see it differently because the litigants have not stated the case the way they should. So in this matter, we know, that the way the court looks at issues is quite different. And if you look at it, for me, without playing the spokesperson for anybody, if you look at it, at the court of first instance, it was 5 judges,
That's the appeal court.
That's the court of first instance in this case. You will discover that it was all the 5 judges in the court of first instance, reasoned the same way. At the court of final jurisdiction, which is the Supreme Court in this case, all the 7 judges also reasoned the same way. That must tell us something. That probably maybe much different from the way you and I will look at it. Maybe, the law is not the way we look at it.
Okay, let's look at it. The presidential candidate of PDP, that's Atiku Abubakar, in his reaction to that judgment, said he was highly disappointed at the outcome of that case. Same for the presidential candidate of Labour Party, that's Peter Obi, saying that Nigerians were shocked at the outcome. Now, if a court, now my question is, if Supreme Court is supposed to be the final,
the court of final jurisdiction
in the land, what should the people expect at such courts? I mean, as in, should people now be able to? Should people now write us? Should now believe that the court has not met their expectations?
No,
does that make them to be incompetent, or what?
I'm going to. You see, it is within the right of any litigant to express disappointment on the judgment that has been passed on his case. It is within the right. But in doing that, you have to be as civil as possible. And then listening to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, the civility that one will expect of someone that is supposed to be a statesman as he is, I have not seen it in a statement. Like I've said, it is within his right to express disappointment. But you can say, I am not satisfied with the judgment, but I respect, I respect the Supreme Court. And that is what I expect, him to do as a statesman. But then, I have said that, I said it earlier on, that if we have institutions that we do not respect, it will be just too bad. It is this same judiciary that is being dragged on the floor now that has given some, judgments that are pro-opposition in the past.
Okay, then would you say, from judging from what you have just said now, this same Supreme Court, aftermath this judgment, do you see the Supreme Court coming out much stronger or becoming weaker in terms of public perception and reputation?
Supreme Court judges are equally not talking well about this.
Okay, now I think there was a unanimous. So what does it become? Have they become much stronger after this judgment or weaker?
No. She has said that some Supreme Court judges are not. They are not. I mean, have they expressed their view on
this issue? I think there's a unanimity. Unanimity. The Supreme Court judge that actually reacted was talking about representation on the Supreme Court composition. That's the judge's composition. Not about this. I think there's unanimity. There's unanimity of
there is your view
about
the judge.
But I'm saying that
are they coming out stronger or weaker? You see, like I've said, the Supreme Court has one focus, and the focus is the law, and the law. You understand? It is not what you and I sit, when we sit down maybe in front of, maybe under a tree, and we are getting ourselves exported and we express our views. The only focus of the Supreme Court is to do justice according to the law. According to the law. And what does the law say, about issues that have been resolved by the Supreme Court? And like I've said, you see, the Supreme Court, it's not all the time you agree with the Supreme Court the way I'll give you an example. Take the case of Bayelsa, for example. The current governor of Bayelsa. It was a different person that won the election. It was, and the APC was ruling then. But the Supreme Court felt that because the deputy governorship candidate had a certificate issue, and because it was a joint ticket, the man was about to be sworn in the next day, and the Supreme Court ruled that they should lose that seat, and that's how PDP became, the ruling party in Bayelsa. In Zamfara, in Zamfara, because of the process, because the law will tell you that you don't build something or nothing, because the process of nominating all the candidates, in Zamfara was wrong, that the people that nominated the candidates were not supposed to be the ones that should nominate the candidate. Meanwhile, APC swept the polls in Zamfara. So, Assembly, House of Rep, Senate, and governorship, and because of that, APC lost. Personally, I would have said, no, the Supreme Court should have ordered a rerun. You understand? That the Supreme Court should have ordered a rerun, but they didn't.
Okay,
so,
let's look.
It's not all the time you agree with Supreme Court. They have their, and for me, their focus is let's do justice according to the law.
All right. So would you say that this is intense and a bit different because of the involvement of the youth this time? Because the heat on this election was so high because of the level of youthful participation we had this time around, which has never, been recorded, that the youth participated so strongly. So would you say that these kind of scenarios we are experiencing is because of their participation this time?
Yes, the youth became more vociferous, in this last election than we had before. But for me, you understand, there is a difference between propaganda and the real fact that we have on ground. There is a difference. And God knows I'm not a card-carrying member of any party. You see, for me, when you look at the last election, yes, the youth, they were very, very, they were involved, they were active, but what was the level of their, mobilization? I'm not talking of just, being on the social media alone. The election does not take place on social media. It takes place in polling booths. So this same youth that we are talking about, look at, I give you an example. Let's take LP, for example. LP, no doubt, was very, very popular in Lagos and maybe some other states in the south, and southeast. How many people came out to vote here in Lagos? How many people came out to vote in Kano? That is what you should ask. So, yes, you can be involved, shouting, but you should take a step further. I want to see a situation that as the youths have been involved, I look forward to the youths, being, agents of change, being change agents in our land. But for you to be change agents, you need to go beyond just, hyping issues in the social media. You must go, beyond that to ensure that, yes, you do remobilization, and on the election day, people go out to vote for your preferred candidates.
Yes, so many issues have actually been raised concerning that judgment. The appellants are insisting that the issue of qualification and eligibility should have been properly looked into by the Supreme Court, and that INEC is failing its duties in its screening processes to have allowed certain things to actually go. That some, particularly the candidate of APC, shouldn't have scaled the hurdles if INEC had actually done its job properly. What's your view about suggestion for reforms, for electoral reforms, for constitutional reforms, that before the swearing in of any supposed winner of election, that all issues concerning that election must have been concluded, so that whoever is sworn in will not have to wait for any further affirmation.
Do you know that
in future.
I'm not going
What's
to?
your position?
I'm not going to subscribe to that on one condition. Rather, what I will subscribe to, I have a one-off solution to this whole thing, and the one-off solution is that other countries are embracing technology in the electoral process, and that the more of technology we embrace in our electoral process, the better for us. There is, in fact, this whole idea of having to go and line up and vote on the election day, being in the sun, is becoming, archaic and antiquated. You understand? We can embrace technology that will ensure that people vote electronically, and if we embrace electronic voting,
But that's
we
the
will
same
have,
process that we have just rubbished.
no, it's not.
Technology.
That's transmission.
But that's technology, but that's
yes.
introducing technology into the process.
For me, it should even be easy for you to stay in your house and
vote.
vote. So we are going beyond IRF. We are talking of transmission now. So, but because if you now say, coming back to your question, if we say that we should conclude all electoral matters before 180 days, that means that you will shift back, the time of election. Maybe you will have to be conducting your election maybe 9 months before the expiration of the current regime. And where is that done? Because we have a president-elect waiting in the wings while the incumbent is there, for maybe almost a year. Let's look at what, the issue that we come up with that again. So you may end up, you may end up having two presidents, in the country at the same time. That is not too good for the polity, as far as I'm concerned. So rather, I will suggest that we should have, electronic voting that will put paid to all this controversy about the sanctity of our electoral process.
This time around, this election, we had the highest number of court cases, over 1,600 from the result, from the what do we call it now? From the rating that was released. Do you think that we can get to the point where somebody wins and then we agree that the person won and stop going to court?
And it is when we get to the process that even nobody, you won't even dare doubt the process, because it will be so clear, and that is, by embracing technology. But then I need to quickly say too that politicians will also always be politicians. Even in the US, we as error proof as we may say that their system is, we know what happened with Trump. Up to today, he still believes that he won, that he defeated Biden, and he has people believing him. So you will always have such, but maybe we can reduce the volume. Maybe we can.
All right.
I think we have to
Thank
go.
you.
We have to go. We need to thank our guest,
Thank you so
Mr.
much for joining
Ademola
us.
Thank you too. Thank you
for
too.
your time.
Thank you too.
He took part of law, he took part of and they combined it to make a very good submission
We thank God.
on today's edition of the program.
All right, that's our program today. But before we leave, we'll still have another segment of the program featuring one of the developmental strides that the Lagos State government has taken in Lagos, and that's talking about the Blue Line Rail. I'm sure you will love to see what it's going on now and the level to which that project has gone.
Oh yes, I'm looking forward to the day I will also be able to travel by rail. That's a Blue Line Rail. That's one of the infrastructural achievements of the current administration of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. I would say kudos to him. It's actually moving on. It's Greater Lagos rising. Yes, we are seeing the evidence of good governance in Lagos State, and we wish him the very best. Others have, from what he has told us, he said red line, green line, blue line, and all We are waiting all of that. But until then, my name is Banji Busari. See you again next week.
We'll leave you with that, and then we'll see you again on another edition of Summit. I am Jumoke Michaels. Bye-bye.
In line with its commitment and strong pursuit of its themes agenda, the administration of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu made history recently with the flag off of the commercial operation of the Blue Line Rail in Lagos State. The governor, who boarded the train with his wife, Dr. Ibijoke Sanwo-Olu, his deputy, Dr. Obafemi Hamzat, Lagos State Commissioner of Police Idowu Omonwa, Lamata MD, and a host of other dignitaries, as well as the first set of passengers, could not hide his excitement, stating that the dream of the administration had come to reality.
Please, for all of our passengers this morning, this is a county-run train service. This is a non-cash county-run train service. Be careful on the platform. Watch the platform very well. Don't drop into the rail track. Be careful when you're using a coaster. Make sure that your car reads the coaster so that the gate will open for you. Please, let's do it one at a time. Let's do it one at a time. People should not rush. The train will wait for you. The train will wait for you. Please, don't rush to the coaster. Media men, all of our stakeholders, this is a very trip and we have to go smoothly. I have my card and I'm hoping that everybody has their card. For all the train, take the card in, and make your plate and the card in law. The body of our pocket, you need to go out there and have the card here and the mobile. Yes, may I get you money? And the card on the wall, training, after my life, the body of our pocket, I'm not to kind of body down too. After the walk, I didn't go out. Gbogbo ìwé láti ṣe sílẹ̀ o, ẹ má jẹ́ ká rush, jẹ́ kọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀, orúkọ mi bàbá jẹ́ Sanwó-Olú, èmi ni ẹ̀ ń tẹ̀lé, jẹ́ kí o ti dáadáa, I'm your head of today, and it's my time to work with all my colleagues, train operators, train signalization, and everybody that will make sure that you have a fantastic plan. So, everybody please join us.
The Lagosians will be happy. At least everybody wants to join, want to take a ride. They want to come into the train and see how it feels like, in Lagos. Not like Abuja, Lagos now. So I think the Lagos State Governor is doing a good job.
few minutes past 5 p.m. on Monday, September 4, 2023, the governor boarded the train from Marina to Mitv and then rode back from Mitv to Marina on its maiden operation.
Just sit down, it's a train ride. Everybody doesn't need to be in one place so that we can occupy different places. National Arts Theatre Station. Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Make sure you are not forgetting any of your personal belongings. Your phone, your personal bags. This is the National Theatre. It's going to stop for 90 seconds. 90 seconds.
The excitement of the governor as well as that of the passengers was not misplaced in view of the years it had taken Lagos State to achieve the dream of its founding fathers and indeed Sanwo-Olu's predecessors. The idea of Metro Rail project was first mooted by the first civilian governor of the state, Alhaji Lateef Jakonde, in 1980. However, the project was stalled. No thanks to the cancellation of the project by the then federal military government under Major General Muhammadu Buhari, the then military head of state. However, good ideas, they say, never die. The project was resuscitated by the administration of Governor Bola Tinubu, which created Lagos State Transport Management Authority, LAMATA, in the early 2000s. In its vision, LAMATA designed a 30-year strategic transportation master plan towards an intermodal transportation system in Lagos State as against the mono transportation system. The succeeding administration of Governor Fashola took up the challenge by starting the 27-kilometer light rail project from Marina to Okokomaiko, but could not complete it. Governor Akinwumi Ambode, who succeeded Governor Fashola, continued the project, but could also not complete it.
Because nobody ever believed it's going to come into reality. But today now it has come to reality. I'm sure everybody will be happy to see this kind of something. And also it will even enhance the economy of Lagos State to move forward. Because like all this Greek block and what have you, so it will make it convenient for each and every one of us to move on. And it will also add more value to the growth of our state and the country at large.
Since assumption of office in 2019, Governor Sanwo-Olu and his team rededicated themselves to a successful completion of the project. Tuesday, 24th day of January 2023, will go down as an unforgettable day in the history of Lagos State. On that day, the dream of the completion of the project became a reality as the first phase of the 27-kilometer Blue Line Rail from Marina to Mitv was inaugurated by no other person than former President Muhammadu Buhari, the very one whose military administration had cancelled the project some 39 years ago. What a curious coincidence of history. However, the actual operation of the Blue Line Rail commenced on Monday, September 4, 2023. The 13-kilometer first phase has 5 terminals, namely Marina, National Theatre, Igamu, Alaba, and Mile 2, with a projection to convey 250,000 passengers daily. Each train is made up of 4 coaches, each of which will comfortably accommodate about 180 passengers. Apart from its comfortability, one of its other attractions is the fact that it is fitted with free Wi-Fi system for the enjoyment of commuters while on board. In his post-commissioning interview, Governor Sanwo-Olu emphasized the importance of the new transportation upgrade, which included ease of movement and reduction of traffic time. He added that this is a good testimony to a promise made and a promise fully kept.
Time, schedule, you can plan with it. Okay? It's leaving National Arts Theatre Station. The next station is the Orile Station. I'm not only excited, everybody on this train is excited, and this is promise made, promise kept, right? We said that we're going to start by the end of last quarter, right? But we also want it to coincide around our 100 days. So it's part of our 100-day celebration. Today is the 4th day of September 2023. And we're excited because now we can start commercial operation. We can start real passenger operation. And you can see all of our citizens are on board with their cowrie cards. We've been able to embark, right? We just left the National Arts Theatre Station now. We're going to the Igamu Station. From the Igamu Station, we'll be going to the Alaba Station. From the Alaba Station, we're ending at the Mile 2 Station. We will all disembark at the Mile 2 Station because we need to change the platform on our return journey if we're going back to the Marina Station. And you can see everything is synchronized, it's been timed. The amount of seconds or minutes is going to stay on each station is known. It's not more than 90 seconds, which is a minute and a half, because it's mass movement. It has to move thousands and thousands of people on both journey, right? So what we're starting with the peak hours, movement, and I'm told we'll have a small lay and we'll go on the peak hour again. I think from Lamata's time schedule, they're starting from 9 o'clock till 12 o'clock, right? And they will, because it's off peak, they'll wait again till 4 o'clock in the evening and they'll run the operations again till 7 or 8 o'clock. So for them to be able to gather traffic, because you just don't want to be running an empty, train, so that people get to know it, people get to plan with it, right? And over time, people will now know the scheduling very well and they can increase and improve their scheduling, as the passenger, passenger traffic increases. We've done a lot of work. We've been doing this advocacy for 6 months. We had to actually pull back, ensure that we've crossed all the T's and dot all the I's. We've done all of the barriers that we need to do. We've put all of the signalizations and all of the signs that will show danger. We've interpreted, during the communication in various languages, in Yoruba, in Egu, in Igbo. Every of the, of the signs and signals are repeated in different languages so that people will get to know about it. And so we've done all of these things, right? But you can never be over-prepared. But we ensure that everything that is humanly possible, we've done it. And we'll continue to do the advocacy.
On the platform, we have an extent to which passengers can move. We have what is called tactile pavement. It's a yellowish kind of line. You don't go beyond that line. And when the train gets to the station, you allow those on the train to alight first before you go on the train. And we have also said that on the train, we will not allow eating or drinking, because the train is powered by electricity and water can conduct electric currents. So we don't want anybody to get electrocuted on the train. So when you're on the train, you don't eat, you don't drink.
For Lagosians, particularly the residents of the axis covered by the first phase of the Blue Line Rail, the new transportation mode will usher in a new lease of life, which will facilitate other several value additions such as enhanced commercial activities, a reduction of traffic congestion on the roads, and making living in Lagos much less stressful than had hitherto been the case.
Actually, I'm so happy, and I'm part of this good as in boarding for the first time the metro line in Lagos State. I feel good, I'm excited, and also I think I need to thank the Mr. Governor for doing a good job. Kudos to him and kudos to the entire Executive Council of Lagos State. And also I want to appreciate Lamata for bringing this to life for us to see today. It's a great pleasure to be part of the team, and I really think that things is really working in Lagos State. Actually, I must confess, it's going to be a turnaround in terms of movement, and it's going to reduce the traveling time. Is going to be reduced. Let's say, for example, you want to move from Mitv to Costain. It will only take you about, I guess, maybe about 15 minutes. You can say it saves time, it saves energy, and it's affordable, and also it's honestly it's comfortable. Yeah.
I'm very happy. My experience is that I'm very happy. And this is my first time of experiencing this type of movement before, and it is very interesting. And I am very grateful to Mr. Governor for all these things he has did in Lagos State. So I pray to God to let him continue and enhance his knowledge in making our state better.
Yes, I was trained with the governor. The experience was wonderful. I should even say interesting, because this is my first time being on a train, and we have a last track card. The card is the one that we put there. There is no money, nobody's paying. Our teachers, our principal, none of them paid. We just use the card. We could get on the train and we sat down, and it was awesome. I think it will ease the stress of transportation, and it will be wonderful.
76 trips will entail that some people will come down at different train stations and some other two people will enter. So you will not discover that for a particular trip, you could be looking at between 1,000 to 1,003 passengers. So when you now multiply that by 76, that will tell you how many passengers the train will carry in a day. Well, from my own projection, we believe that the train will carry between 150 and 170,000 passengers per day. The business of government is to create an enabling environment for business to operate. So that said, this train system has been funded by government. So it is going to be operated and maintained by the private sector. And before we get to this point, there's a service level agreement that has been signed, talking about maintenance, talking about recruitment, talking about, timetabling for the rail system. So all of those things have been factored. And last week we have the GIR, General Inspectors of Rail, from Federal Ministry of Transportation. They have certified, they came and saw this system, and we laid our plan before them. They have looked at it and they see that it's a workable plan.
It is hoped that the second phase of the Blue Line Rail, which will run from Mitv to Okokomaiko, will be completed within a foreseeable future, such that Lagosians will experience better and seamless commuting within the metropolis.
The red line is going to be completed before the end of this year, by the grace of God. We're about 95–96% in all of it. So, for the red line, we have over bridges. So we're going to start commissioning the bridges maybe by the end of this month, so that passengers and vehicles can start moving on those bridges from, Ikeja along to Yaba Bridge, to Ebute Metta Bridge, to Mushin Bridge, and all of them. So we're going to open the bridges for vehicles to start moving on top, so that will begin the signalization that red line is coming up. Right, we're almost completing the retrofitting of the trains, and they have also started recruitment of train operators,
of train managers and all of that. Then we will start the unveiling of the various stations themselves. Red line is actually, in my view, actually even bigger than the blue line, right? So it will come. It will certainly come. I'm trying to get everything, all the T's crossed and all the I's dot. We're just doing finishing in all of it. Terminal buildings. They've started actually. They've started from we've awarded the contract from mile 2 all the way to Okokomaiko. And by the grace of God, we will cut the tape in this our administration on the second phase. We will cut the tape.
Government realizes that we cannot do this as business as usual. Don't forget, this rail system is going to be powered by electricity. So we cannot play any kind of game on it. And so we have a regulatory system in place that will ensure that this train is maintained as at when due.
During factors, we have to change our orientation, because whatever we must have done is meant for you and I, and we are supposed to look after it, to maintain and make sure things are going on smoothly, than to be vandalizing the tracks and what have you. It's not healthy. It's for the it's for the betterment of each and every one of us. Your property is my own property. It's not government property. It belongs to you and I. So in that case, we should be able to see to the welfare of our property and manage it very well.
Beyond the Blue Line Rail, the administration of Governor Sanwo-Olu is committed to extending the project to cover the entire state. In all, 7 colored light rail projects are receiving the attention of Governor Sanwo-Olu's administration. These include the Blue Line Rail from Marina to Okokomaiko, Red Line Agbado to Marina, Purple Line redeemed to Ojo, Yellow Line Ota to Ido, Brown Line Mitv to Marina, Orange Line redeemed to Marina, and Green Line Marina to Lekki. When these projects are fully completed, there is no doubt that the dream of Lagos as a mega city and the rising Greater Lagos vision will not just become a dream come true, but a promised land reached. For now, we can all rise in unison to give kudos and thumbs up to Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu, the excellently performing governor of the Center of Excellence, Lagos State.